Hi, and welcome to Nexus of Alexis. I am Lexis Craig, and I'm here to really just today, I want to talk about being in the hospital. If you might have noticed, I didn't make one of these videos last week, and the reason is that I was at the hospital, not for myself, but for my dad. And so, what I really want to talk about today is what are my takeaways from the experience that we could all learn from of spending a week or more in the hospital? Now, I was in all different parts of the hospital with my dad. When we were in the ICU, we were in the next unit down, the next unit down, the next unit down, and now he's released. Thank goodness, I'm so grateful. And it was a learning experience for sure. So there was I really just want to talk about what I actually learned there. For one, if you have not spent time in the hospital, I honestly highly recommend it. Now, I'm not saying I encourage you to go and be admitted to the hospital, certainly not. But I do encourage you to actually spend time in a hospital. I would say at least once a year, and to go there and to really visit someone in the hospital and get a picture. Visit for not just like 10 minutes, go and visit, like a real visit where you get a sense of what is going on in there. So, and I think that's pretty important. I mean, from a few perspectives. One, so that you get a picture of what it looks like to be in the hospital. You get a feel of what the rhythm of the hospital is. And also, just so that you can appreciate all of these things that you take for granted in your life, in the way that you live your life on a day to day basis. So, if there's someone in your life who gets admitted to the hospital, go visit them if they're open to it. And if not, then I would encourage you to go and volunteer at the hospital or just to go and experience the hospital. And for everybody who works at the hospital, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Everyone who works at any hospital anywhere, thank you. Okay. The next piece I have to share about being in the hospital is I really suggest that anyone who's in the hospital has an advocate, especially if they can't really speak, especially if it's hard to understand them for whatever reason. And especially if they're really maybe not in the headspace to be able to make decisions for their own health. And I'm not talking about necessarily major life decisions, even just like, would you like to eat right now? Is there anything you need? Can I bring you ice chips? Just having someone to be your voice for these maybe even menial questions so that someone who actually understands you and can convey that to the person who has the power to bring you these things, it makes all the difference. So if you find yourself in the hospital or somebody you love, then I would really suggest having an advocate, and not just one. It works the best if you have, like, the whole family can alternate with this, because if one person is the advocate, you're going to get exhausted. Okay. So those are the more transactional pieces around it. The next piece that I want to share about what I learned from the hospital is really how beneficial practicing yoga is. Seriously. Yoga is a lifesaver. Yoga, really, my relationship to yoga, what it looks like is that no matter what is going on, no matter how stressful it is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much it hurts, that you're able to focus on your breath and stay with your breath and breathe through it no matter what. Now, this past visit in the hospital consisted of a lot of me encouraging breathing. It was like, smell the roses, blow out the candles for hours. And I can just really see in that scenario how beneficial yoga really is. And that having a yoga practice where you already have the skill set of choosing whether you breathe through your nose or your mouth, and where you are used to being in a stressful and perhaps even painful experience and breathing through it anyway, can make a huge difference. Yoga also, and the breath work that goes with it, is so helpful for navigating emotional intensity. And when you're in that kind of situation, especially when it's an intense situation in the hospital, being able to breathe through it to calm your nervous system so that you're not just in a panic, it might save your life. So, yoga, at least meditation, both. That is a huge takeaway for me from this hospital. And I already practice these things. And just going there and having this be the scenario really made me feel even more dedicated and more passionate about this as an offering to myself in my life and to share with others. Okay. The other piece that I could really feel for myself in being the advocate at the hospital was I felt really called to be more in relationship with my, let's say, 90-year-old self, to really feel into what the things that I think are important right now. When I'm in the hospital with my dad, who's older, he's not quite 90, but just saying, like, the things that I think are important now, from the perspective of the lens of this older self, a lot of those things feel sort of trivial. And some of them that feel trivial to me in the age that I am right now feel important for me to focus more on. So, like spending time with my family and just actually showing up to do my self care, make sure my body stays strong, and all of that feels really important from the view of my 90-year-old self. So, I would really suggest whatever it takes for you to speak with your 90-year-old self. That might look like journaling as your 90-year-old self, or maybe writing a letter to your 90-year-old self and then sitting as your 90-year-old self and writing back. For me, I just speak out loud to her. I speak to my 90-year-old self and I ask her questions. I ask for her wisdom. I ask for her perspective. And I ask her honestly for compassion and to tell me that things are going to be okay. So I encourage you to really cultivate. And 90 might be not be your number. Maybe it's 100. Maybe it's 120. Maybe it's 80. Maybe it's something else. But to really develop a relationship with reaching out to yourself at an older age so that you can feel into what is going to be important to you at that time so that you can show up in loving service to yourself at that age now. Yeah. I also just really feel like when I connect with my 90-year-old self, it helps me really feel how much vitality that I have in my body right now. That's true being in the hospital too, being in the hospital and just really witnessing so much suffering and witnessing so much just like it's like the opposite of vitality, right? Whatever the word is for that. But it really makes me appreciate how vital my body is right now. And it's easy for me to walk across the hall and go to the bathroom. It's easy for me to open this package. It's easy for me to eat and swallow and go to the bathroom. It's easy for me to do all of these things that people in the hospital are not necessarily able to do easily. So I just really want to name that I am so, so grateful for the vitality that I have in my body. And I allow for this to be an opportunity for me to let go of any judgment that I have been having around my body, especially around looks, especially around things that are not really important, and to really just be grateful for all that my body can do right now. So that's what I have to say about my experience of being an advocate in the hospital. If you have any kind of experience with this on either side, being the patient or the advocate, or even just whatever else you might have to share, I would love to hear what you have to say. So please feel free in the comments to share. In the meantime, thank you for all of the prayers and love and support and compassion. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. If you're watching this video right now, I'm talking to you. Thank you. And if there's some way I can be a support for you or show you love in some way, please let me know. You can always reach out to me. You can, of course, you can comment on this video. You can also find me on Alexis at thenextfitnessthing.com. You can find me on Instagram at Alexis Craig Fit. Wherever you can find me on Facebook pretty easily too. Wherever you want to find me, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. All right, that's all I have to say today. Drink lots of water, get lots of sleep. I love you.